20th at Apex FC2. So first off, Nick, thanks for joining me, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, of course. So you're heading in. You're finishing up fight camp this week, and you're making a big step in your career, making your pro debut this Friday. Talk about first off what went into that. I know you had a 7-0 amateur career, but what made you make the decision at this point to jump into the pro ranks?
Um, my decision was, I think, uh, finding better competition. I think, Amy, I mean, I feel like you only can do so much, and I feel like almost Amy, you get some of those guys that probably should be a pro, but they're taking a couple Amy's to figure out if they want to do it or try and figure out what things they need to work on before they go pro and make that next step. And I felt like uh, competition was the biggest thing for me because of my wrestling background. And I've been wrestling since I was 4, and adding the new tools of striking into wrestling and adding some jits as well with my kicks. I feel like I was farther ahead than most of these Amis that I was competing against, just because my high wrestling was so much superior than them. So I didn't have to really do much in most of my fights, because usually I took them down and I got over with. I think I had one that went all. I had 2 that went all 3 rounds, and the grappling got the best of both of those guys I competed against. So,
That's
yeah.
interesting. You talk about the experience level because you actually faced a lot of guys with a lot of MMA experience. At least in your last few fights, you fought a guy that was 5-1, 8-2, and then 5-2. Do you feel like that kind of proved to you that even though you were able to beat guys that had at least MMA experience, that you were ready for the pro ranks?
Yeah, of course. I think a lot of it too, just from competing since in wrestling from high school to college. I think it's the same thing. I think no matter what sport you're doing, you still gotta go out there and compete. I mean, obviously all the sports are different and what you're doing, but I felt like the mindset is the same. Like you still gotta uh, show up, have the right mindset to compete no matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is. So I think a lot of that too.
Yeah, and so I know the other thing I think that probably has helped with your confidence and preparing for your pro debut is the gym you train at, which is Glory MMA. Training at Trey Ogden, James Krause. You guys have multiple high level UFC fighters, Bellator fighters. I know Megan Anderson's also at that gym. Talk about the gym and kind of what made you decide to pick that gym and how they've helped you prepare for your pro debut.
Okay. Um, I the reason why I picked it, I like the gym atmosphere. All the guys that are competitive, they have a bunch of studs in that room, and this is my first summer actually being in James Krause's room every day. And when I was there the first day, um, you can tell the intensity of the room, the vibe. Everyone's focused, everyone's ready to learn, and the morning practices where all the pros are. It's how it's crazy around a bunch of guys that are in the UFC or, like you said, Bellator, and just the way they look at things and always asking questions. Very high intensity. Listening to James Krause talk, man, like just smart, man. That dude's smart. Like he's always 3 steps ahead. And when you watch him teach, he's always uh, what he says, it makes sense. I mean, he just has a game plan for every little thing, and the way he talks about teaching us and all that, it's just amazing. I was happy to be in there. And then my coach at Overland Park, who is that's James Crouch's, like um that's his coach. So it's awesome to learn from Trey Ogden too. He's really good too. He comes from, his coach is obviously James Krause. I mean, there's nothing but studs up there, and Trey Ogden's really good at what he does. He fits my scheme of striking into takedowns and submissions and all that. And Trey's been really good on me too. And just the atmosphere of the OP and Lee Summit room is amazing. They care for one another. They want to see everyone reach their goals, and just being around these guys, there's just a bunch of studs who just want to do really well and make that's a long time dream for them. So it's been I've learned a lot since I've been there around them.
Yeah, and speaking of Bellator, your opponent this Friday, Jamise Taylor, actually made his pro debut fighting on Bellator. He lost, but that was a couple of years ago at this point. Lost via knockout and has pro boxing experience as well. How do you look at a guy like that has, even though he lost his debut in Bellator, he got the ability to make his pro debut for a big organization. Do you feel like this is a perfect opponent for a first pro fight for you?
Yeah, I think it's a good opponent. Uh, Me and Trey, we watched some videos on him. He's tough. He's long. He's rangy. He's like 6'2", 6'3", around there. Just he stays real long. Um, I think honestly, you just gotta have respect for the game, man. It doesn't matter what the record is. It doesn't matter they're 0-2. I mean, any given day, someone can get knocked out, or or lose. I mean, you just got to respect the game, no matter what the record is. So I respect all my opponents. I just try to worry about what I can do. Honestly, I mean, I don't see what they're doing. I just worry about me. But I think it's a good pro debut. It's a good start. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I know you do have have that long wrestling experience. Talk a little bit about how you got into wrestling, and I know you wrestled through high school and also through college as well. How did that transition from wrestling? First of all, how did you get into wrestling, and how did you transition from wrestling into MMA?
So the way I got into it, so my older brother Dustin, he wrestled in high school, and my mom didn't want him to wrestle. And then my older brother suggested to my mom to allow me to wrestle because I was always like I had anger issues. So he said that would be a good way for him to get his anger issues out. And my mom for wouldn't let me for a while, and then she let me like run on the mats, and I just fell in love with it. And then found out I got really good. I was beating kids who were older than me, like 3 or 4 years older. And then I just stuck with it and just got really good. And just I don't know. It's just like that's that's just been I guess it's been my nature now, honestly. Like wrestling through elementary school to up. So it's been really a good blessing. It's kept me out of trouble, honestly. So
Great. Yeah, I come from a pretty wrestling heavy state in Ohio, so
oh
it's
yeah,
kind
you
of
got
rare
really
when
good.
you
Yeah.
see a guy now and that transitions to MMA in this area that doesn't have a wrestling background. So so you always see the wrestlers and the guys that have the credentials and the pedigree, and those are the guys that you definitely see go far in the sport. But you you. You've spent most of your career at 170. I know you bumped up to 185 for one of your fights, and your pro debut is also at 170. Is that where you see yourself for the long term, or do you want to go up, go down, switch them, go in between different weight classes, or do you feel like 170 is kind of your home?
I'll probably stay at 170. It's already hard. It's already hard enough for me to get down to 170. Honestly, it's like the last 2 pounds are like I don't have really anything left, and I don't know. I never see myself getting lower than that. I don't think I would probably like chop off my arm or something to get down to 55. But yeah, I'll probably stay at 170. Gives me time to lift, and it's not terrible, but it's not great. But I mean, I think I can get big enough to be at 170. That's where I feel comfortable at, honestly.
Great. Yeah. So, what do you do outside of fighting, man? So I know it seems like you definitely have gone all in on the, making your jump to the pro career, but, for a lot of guys, especially at this level, it's not what's paying the bills. What do you do outside of fighting?
Usually I usually watch Netflix and I eat ice cream. That's about it. Like, and I go to sleep. That's about it. After that, like, I don't really do too much. I mean, I've always been like a homebody. I don't really go out very much. I mean, I'll go out once in a while, and I think it's boring. I'll end up back at home doing my routine of Netflix and ice cream. So I'm technically like an old man already. I'm 26, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
I just
Do you have a job outside of, or are you a full-time fighter?
Yeah, I have a job. I work at the elementary school, T South. I'm a para. I help students like with homework and all that. So almost like a student teacher.
Oh,
So
awesome.
it's I mean, yeah, it's not bad. It's good stuff. I mean, I like working with kids. I like giving back as much as I can. And Yeah, that's what I do with my spare time too. Also, so,
Yeah, and so I know that I read that you are a big Anderson Silva fan, and coming up next month, Anderson Silva and Tito Ortiz are actually boxing. What do you think about that fight? And how do you think that's going to go?
uh, I think it's gonna be fun. It's fun to watch like the older guys, the old OGs that used to fight. Um, I think it's good. I think Anderson Silva will win though. I think he's in better shape than TOT's. But it's fun watching those guys get out there and fight. Honestly, it's fun to watch both of them. I think it's good because some people don't know about them, but I think it's good to watch some of those guys get back in there, honestly, do what they love.
Yeah, I'm really excited on that same card. Oscar De La Hoya and
Yeah,
Vitor
that's another good
Belfort
one
is
too.
going to be fun too. Like Oscar, I don't think he ever fought in boxing above like 170. So I'm surprised that he's fighting a guy in Vitor who's so big. I don't know what weight
Yeah.
that's at, but that'll be interesting to see like a good pure boxer. Like Oscar, when I was really young, was like one of the guys that I watched and got into boxing, and see him against Vitor, who just is a straightforward like power guy when at least in
Mhm.
the striking is going to be fun. So I'm into I like that a lot of those guys like you said are still fighting, and those are the fights that are really interesting, and it's in boxing too. So I think it kind of helps with that crossover with
Mhm.
boxing and MMA.
I agree. Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's good for the culture too. I mean, it just brings back a little bit of history. Honestly, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and so a couple more questions and we'll get you out of here. So the promotion that you're fighting for, Apex Fighting Championship, this is just their second event. Do you know anything about the promotion? It looks like they're kind of going big with a pretty big fight card. I know it's at Hy-Vee Arena in Kansas City, and they've got some pretty big names on the card in addition to yourself. How do you feel about fighting for like a newer promotion?
I think I think it's exciting, honestly, because it'll help them grow too, and that they can grow and get more expanded. That's the better. I mean, that brings in more and more people, more fighters. It makes it more exciting. I'm really excited just to be a part of it and for them to allow me to help them grow as a business as well. So it's exciting to be a part of that. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I know the main event is Zach Buccia, I think is how you say his name, against Josh
Yeah.
Tully. Zach's the guy that's been around for a long, long time. I remember watching him in Strikeforce back in the day. So that should be fun. And it looks like you are I guess maybe the co-main event. So it's a pretty big placement for your pro debut.
Yeah, I didn't even know if co-main event. I just knew it was my debut, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah,
At least that's where they have you on the fight card right now. So don't.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
guess
was like,
not.
oh wow.
Now it's out there, right? If you
Yeah,
you're like, hey man, I just show up. I heard I'm the co-main event, and then maybe they
yeah.
have to put you there. So, but yeah, man. So making your pro debut this Friday night in Kansas City. It's a big fight card. First off, where do you think the your career is going to go? Kind of not that you're necessarily looking forward, but it looks like you want to make a career out of this and go a long way in this sport, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Let us know where we can find you on all the social media and all that fun stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram at King Black Cat 174 with a S at the end of 74.
There's
Yeah.
another King Black Cat 174.
Yeah. Well, honestly, no. Well, honestly, the reason why I did that is because like I took it from my gamer tag.
Oh,
I was
gotcha.
like, why not? And I used my gamer tag from Xbox. So
Okay.
everyone asking me like, why you do that? I'm just like, I was playing my Xbox and I was like, why not use my gamer tag? That's
What kind of games are you into?
I play Warzone and I play FIFA. So I like
Okay.
soccer. Yeah,
Yeah, I always loved I haven't played FIFA in a long time. I used to be
I
into
love.
gaming a while ago, and then life kind of gets in the way, right? But
Oh yeah,
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 I was big into like Call of Duty, and I was big into FIFA and Madden for a long time. So, but yeah, I break out I was always a PlayStation guy, but I break it out every once in a while,
Oh okay, yeah,
dust off get the dust off the old games, and I'm an old
yeah,
school
yeah.
gamer too. Like I still got the old Sega Genesis, the
Oh yeah, that's
N64.
yeah.
Yeah, my wife and I will play some Mario Kart every once in a while. So
I'm pretty good at Mario Kart. Mario
Yeah,
Kart's fun.
she kicks my butt every time. So
Oh, that's not good.
I
That's
know.
not good.
Hey, I always say I let her win, but I wish that was true. It's
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
But yeah, man. So thanks so much for joining me. As I mentioned, check out Nick Meck this Friday night at Apex FC2, and what I guess now we're calling it the co-main event. So either way, you'll be in the main event before long. So thanks for
Yeah.
joining me, man, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
Thank you. Have a good